How's it going, guys? aRenG Life here, and today we're looking at the new set coming out in Duel Links, Empire of Scarlet, where we're finally getting them new vampire support cards. I was honestly expecting this because I think in the TCG we recently got some, I think it was a vampire pack. So I was expecting to get more vampire stuff eventually in Duel Links, and here it is. So we got Empire of Scarlet with a cool new boss monster in the set, Scarlet Scourge, looking pretty cool. So this set is basically bringing us vampires, Inzektors, some Naturia support, and I think and a few other like types of archetypes, I guess, kind of like Bounzers and a few other things that are just kind of miscellaneous, but whatever. Another thing is they did raise the size of the box of mini boxes to 100 cards instead of 80, and they lowered main boxes from 200 to 180, I believe. So it should even it out a little bit more. I'm kind of all for that. I mean, I think that's pretty good because it was pretty easy to get cards from a mini box, and then it was like impossible to get stuff from a main box. So I think this is pretty good. It's a nice little even territory, but whatever. Let's actually get right in and let's look at the best cards in Empire of Scarlet. First up, we got the boss monster. We got Vampire Scarlet Scourge. This guy, well, what can you really say about him? He's a cool boss monster. You're going to need to run him at multiple if you want to run his deck. This set is basically vampire dot set. This is pretty much the set that's going to give you all your vampire stuff, because also I think like 4 of the SR and UR cards are vampire support, so if you're going to be pulling from this, you're most likely going to be trying to make vampires, but whatever. Vampire Scarlet Scourge looks like a pretty interesting boss monster. He has a few effects. I do like the fact that he has this effect that, I guess I'll read it. It says, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can pay 1,000 life points and revive a vampire from your grave, except a card with his name, so except a Scarlet Scourge. So he's pretty cool. He can revive another type of vampire, so not bad, not bad. Also, they do have effects when special summoned, even the smaller vampires that I'm going to get into in a bit. So when summoned, when special summoned from the grave or just special summoned in general, they get other effects like searching for a vampire monster, searching for a vampire spell or trap, which is pretty good for one of them because it adds the field spell or just any vampire card that's going to be useful to you, or any back row, I mean. So there's that. So I think this guy's really cool. Also, he has an additional effect that if he does kill your opponent's or one of your opponent's monsters, he has the ability to basically mind control them, and they go to your side of the field and become his like servant, which I think is pretty decent. It's pretty interesting. It's kind of like a tropey vampire thing, and I kind of like it. I really do. I think this card is pretty cool. His stat line, really don't matter. Doesn't matter that it's like 22 because the field spell does power him up. So he's gonna be like 27. So he can pretty much run over quite a few things. Also depending on what other cards you run, because there are some cards that power up zombies and stuff like that, since vampires are all zombies. So I think this card is going to be really strong. I don't know at the moment how it's going to deal with the meta. I still would like to see how it deals with certain cards. I still think Amazon is here a little bit too busted, but whatever. Next up, we got Inzektor Centipede. This is going to be the best Inzektor card you can get in this set, well, because it's a UR. Once per turn, you can equip one Inzektor monster from your hand or graveyard to this card. One thing is, I've never played Inzektors before, but I do know that we are not getting some of the better Inzektors. I don't think we're getting Hornet or Dragonfly. So I think right now it's all about that Centipede. So it looks interesting. I'm looking forward to trying it and actually experimenting with the deck. If an equip card or cards is sent to your graveyard while equipped to this card, except during the damage step, you can add one Inzektor card from your deck. Inzektor card. It could be spell, trap, monster, it could be anything from your deck to your hand. And then while this card is equipped to a monster, that monster's level is increased by 3. At this point in time, I don't know too much about the benefits of having a higher level, besides the fact that you're probably going to be using this guy in a beatdown Kaiba or whatever, a beatdown deck, basically. So it looks pretty interesting. I can see that definitely going down. But whatever, next up, we got our third UR. We got Interplanetary Purpley Thorny Dragon. Alright, let's shorten it.
Oh my, how lewd.
Alright, so we got this guy. I actually think this card is pretty good because it kind of feels like a hand trap. because its effect does state that if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the grave, so if it's destroyed in any way, as long as it's destroyed and sent to the grave, you can special summon this bad boy from the hand, and he's 2200, 5-star dragon. That's pretty good. I mean, he's just a free monster that comes out, disrupts your opponent's plays. They might think they're going to be swinging for game, and you can stop them with this guy, and I think that's pretty cool. Vampire Familiar is the next card we're looking at, and this is one of those vampire cards I was talking about. This one in particular is pretty good because this one is going to get you your boss monster. This one's going to get you that Scarlet Scourge, and using that, you're going to be able to pretty much special summon this guy somehow, and then get his effect to search, and then tribute summon into Scarlet Scourge. So I think this card is really cool in general, especially if you combine it with a whole bunch of other stuff. I think these guys are really good when sent to the grave. I kind of want to make like a cheeky Graphic Screener deck. As soon as stuff works from the grave, I want to send everything to the grave. So whatever, there's that. It's just one of the ways I make decks. I think it's fun to make a Graphic Screener versions of almost anything. But Vampire Familiar works in the grave. If it is special summon, you can pay 500 life points and add a vampire monster from the deck to the hand, except himself. And if it is in the graveyard, you can send a vampire card from your hand or face up on the field, usually from the hand, to special summon this card. And you banish it when it leaves the field, though. So there's that. You can only use this effect once per turn, and I think this is really good. It's just basically your search card for all vampire monsters. Pretty good. Like I said earlier, they both search different things. Then there's this guy, and then we got Vampire Retainer over here, who looks like a good and bad boy right now. So this guy's pretty cool. He is your spell and trap searcher in vampires. Not too bad. It looks pretty decent. He's actually got a little bit of attack on him, so maybe you could use him to at least battle. But you're not going to be really using them for that. These guys are really cool because they special summon, they get a search, and then you're able to tribute them away. So I think you can pretty much run pretty high tribute like cost monsters, maybe Vampire Lord, maybe that other guy, what is it, Vampire's Curse maybe, but I think Vampire Lord might be a little bit better because it works with the new field spell that I'll be going over in a bit. It adds a Vampire Spell or Trap, so you can add the Vampire Field Spell, you can add any Vampire Trap that basically like gets you the field spell, so it's just gonna be really good. We got another Inzektor monster. We got Inzektor Giga Mantis. I really love the design on these guys. They look like what are they? Kamen Riders, I believe. They're kind of like a Power Ranger Sentai thing, but that's pretty much what they're supposed to be. And I think this guy has a really cool effect. This one does state that you can target one face-up Inzektor monster you control and equip this card from your hand to that target. While this card is equipped to a monster, that monster's original attack becomes 2400, and if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target one Inzektor monster in your graveyard except himself and special summon that target. So this can be really good for getting you extra Inzektors from the grave summoned onto the field for like a swarming abilities. I don't know, I didn't read all the Inzektors, but if you have a way that if like your Inzektor has the power to send this guy away, I know Hornet I think would do that, but I think I forget which one would send one away and then you get to pop your opponent's back row, and then since they're sent away you get extra effects. If we have something like that in Duel Links, I can see Inzektors being really, really good. I know they were actually pretty good in the TCG, but then power creep made them kind of irrelevant. And then recently they did get a new Inzektor Link monster, so that's why we're seeing them. Next up, we got Hammerbound, dude. I like this guy because he's kind of like an all-or-nothing card. He just seems interesting. This one does state, if your opponent controls a card and you control no cards, you can normal summon this card without tributing. So you get a free 2300 beater. It kind of feels like Cyber Dragon, but with additional effects. But I guess Cyber Dragon is only for monsters, so you can actually have back row with him. This guy, you pretty much have to have nothing. So first turn, or going second, he's really, really good. You get a free 2300 beater as your normal summon, and as long as you control no spell or trap cards, and your opponent cannot activate any spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step, well, their monster's basically gonna die, and then if they want to activate like Michizure or whatever afterwards, so they can econ him preemptively. They would have to mirror wall preemptively. He's completely immune to Wall of D as long as you don't set any back row. So I think he's pretty cool. I actually really kind of like this guy. Next up, we got Wall of Illusion. Wall of Illusion is a little bit, I mean, it's not that great. It's just it's an okay card. I mean, there is already a card in Duel Links that pretty much does the same thing but better. It's the Jirok pterodactyl card, Terra, I believe, and it has the same exact effect, except I think Terra is a little bit better. But it just states, if this card is attacked by a monster after damage calc, return that monster to the hand. So if they kill this card, they get bounced. If they don't kill this card, they get bounced. That's pretty much all that does. The other guy, Terra, has that same effect, except if it bounces the monster back and your monster survives, it gains more defense, so it's going to be even harder to run over. So I think it's just a pretty good card. The only benefits is that now we're going to have 6 cards in the game that do pretty much the exact same thing. Because you're going to be running 3 of each, so you can actually run like a Wall of Illusion deck and just like get ready to bounce all your opponent's stuff back. That could be pretty cheeky if you want to go for that ability. But whatever, that's just pretty much all that Wall of Illusion does. Finally, we got Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch, making Monarchs good. This guy's, I mean, we already had, what was his name? The Rock guy. I think you summon him and you destroy a set card, you destroy a back row, I believe. This guy, pretty much the same thing. You tribute summon this guy and you destroy a monster on the field. That could be pretty good. I mean, it is one monster, so, and it is a forced activation thing, so if they have no monsters, he's gonna kill himself. So you do have to be careful with that. But I think he's just a really good addition to Monarchs. We got Mithra as the next card we're looking at. Mithra, the Thunder Vassal. Mithra obviously works with Zaborg. It's kind of like the vassal form. You use this girl, you special summon her, and then you tribute summon for the other guy. But she has effects on top of that. So let's actually go ahead and read that essay of text. If this card is in your hand, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon on the extra deck. Don't worry, you're not going to be special summoning from the deck, extra deck, in Monarchs. They just don't do that. So for the rest of this turn. Also, special summon this card, and if you do, special summon 1 Vassal token, Thunder type, 800 attack, 1000 defense to your opponent's field in defense position. I don't see the reason for doing that. I guess it's because it just gives you an extra monster, so that way you can actually summon Zaborg even if they're not playing anything and pop their token, which is pretty cool, I guess. So there's that. And I mean, if you want to pop something else, go ahead. If this card is tributed for a tribute summon, you can activate this effect, and you can tribute 1 monster during your main phase. So it basically gives you an extra normal summoner set during the turn you tribute summon this card. So it could be pretty interesting. Like, you tribute summon this card, you can summon another Monarch, and then you can use that Monarch's summon effect when tribute summoned, and you could pop their back row or something, and then you can tribute summon that Monarch and tribute summon for Zaborg, and then pop their monster and then attack them. I think that could be pretty interesting, especially if we get more vassals and stuff. But I know we're waiting on Caius, to be honest. We're waiting on Caius, and then maybe we'll get Mega Monarchs in the future, and all the crazy Monarchs that are like banned in the TCG, whatever. So those are pretty cool. And also, I've seen better Mithras. I know this is Mithra, but I've seen better Mithras. Here it is. We got that Vampire Kingdom. Obviously a really, really good card in Vampires. You're probably gonna be running it at 2 or 3. It's just a staple. Like, it's a really good card. Zombie type monsters gain 500 attack during damage calc only. Also, it has this other effect that works well with some vampire monsters. If you get to mill a card from your opponent's deck, it has the ability to basically target 1 card on the field, send 1 vampire monster from your hand or deck to the grave, and destroy that target. So it gets to pop something on the field. You get to send one of your vampire familiars or the other guy. So you send it to the grave, and then you get to revive them and get their effects. You get so much stuff. You really do. Vampire Kingdom is going to get you so many plays. Next up, we got Bashing Shield. I do not see like the potential for this at the moment. Like, it is just escaping me. It does say you can only equip it to a normal summoned or set monster, so you cannot equip it onto a special summon monster. Fair enough. I could see this being equipped to like Monarchs, and obviously this deck is all about normal summoning, so you could equip it onto your Scarlet Scourge, your Inzektors, or whatever you have. So you can equip it onto them. It gains 1000 attack, and you take no battle damage from attacks involving it. So if they do run them over, it doesn't matter. You don't take any damage, which seems like a pretty cool card. It's just a free 1000 attack equip. I guess in the right deck, it could just be a really good equip. I mean, it definitely would work in Inzektors, I guess, so that's pretty cool. Moving on. Then the last card, or last SR, that we're looking at is Flash of the Forbidden Spell. I think this card is cool. I think it's really cool because it's kind of like a what is that one card, Royal Flush or something? When your opponent has 3 set back row, it destroys everything, so it punishes your opponent for like oversetting back row. It's pretty much that, but for monsters, which I think is a little bit more relevant in the sense that there's a lot of decks that like swarming. Like for hires, they like getting 3 monsters on board. I think it can potentially see play, but I think just the existence of this might change how people play the game, which is pretty cool. Depends on how much it gets used. And that's pretty much it for the SRs and URs in this set. Aside from this, I guess I'll go into some like honorable mentions for some other rares or normals, whatever, that are just pretty strong. First of all, we got Vampire Vamp. I'm not saying this card is good. I just think it's a really, really good looking card. I actually heard people are using this in the TCG as a token. So because she's so pretty, dude. I don't know. I heard that she's like terrible. She's not really playable in most situations. Only when you're losing. She only really uses her effect against your opponent's monsters that are stronger than her. So I guess that could be pretty good. But whatever. She's just an interesting card to look out for. I wanna make her good. I really do. This card looks pretty interesting. Another card I wanted to give a mentions to is Swallowtail Butter Spy. Butter Spies are another thing that's being added. We got more. I guess they're not insects. This one's a warrior. So it has a really cool effect. To be honest, it just has a really cool effect, and it does state, when another monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and it loses attack equal to the battle damage inflicted. So I think that's pretty neat. I think that's pretty interesting. It can work with anything. That's why I'm actually giving it a little mention, because it works in any deck. It doesn't need to be like another insect monster. It doesn't need to be anything. It's just any deck you're running it in. You attack something, you kill it, you deal like 500 damage to them. Bam, the next card they have loses 500 attack, and you could run that over with something weaker. We got Naturia Horn Needle. I just think this is pretty cool because it adds another factor to Naturia. Before they were all about swarming and protecting their monsters and trying to get that OTK. Now that they have this card, I think they can shut down special summons. So if this is on the field, your opponent's not going to want a special summon. So that's pretty interesting. So if they're going to want a special summon, you can activate its effect, tribute a face-up Naturia monster you control, and pretty much destroy that special summon monster. So it kind of like instantly says no to them. This is going to be, I think, one of the best equips for Inzektors. We got Inzektor Sword, Calabar. And it's just a free 800 power up, and when this card is sent to the grave, it's a search, and you get a free Inzektor monster in your grave and add it to your hand. I think that's pretty good. It searches, or it doesn't search, but it recycles stuff from the grave. So I think that's a really, really good card for Inzektors, because it keeps maintaining hand advantage, which is one of the downfalls of equips in general, that when you lose your monster, it's just a minus. Like, you go -2 when you shouldn't have. So this one at least recovers another monster, so it can even recover the Inzektor that was killed with it. So I think that's pretty neat. We got Pyramid of Wonders, more zombie support. It just powers up zombies by 200 for each monster your opponent controls. So if they do have a lot of monsters on board, your zombies are going to get really strong, and it lets you pretty much wipe their board. So there's that. And also, if they were to try to destroy one of your zombies, this one takes the hit for it. So if for hires are trying to pop your stuff, bam, this card gets hit, and it kind of controls your opponent's board a little bit. So I just think it's pretty cool. Vampire Takeover looks pretty cool because it's basically saying if you have no field spell and one zombie type monster on board at least, it's got to be a zombie. They all have to be zombies, which if you're playing vampires, you're most likely going to have all zombies. You can activate one Vampire Kingdom directly from the deck. And then you can special summon one dark vampire monster from your grave in face-up defense position. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, you get the special summon, you get the tribute if you go for the little vampire bat thingy, because you special summon the bat, it gets a search. You add your Scourge guy, your vampire Scourge guy, and then you tribute summon that card, so you get a free field spell and you get your boss monster all with one card. I really like Vampire Takeover, to be honest. And that's pretty much that. I think there's a lot of really interesting cards in this set. I have no idea how Inzektors are gonna play, since I don't know the whole deck. Like, I don't know it, so it might be better than vampires, but vampires are looking pretty good, especially with this Vampire Takeover card, which I really want to run. But whatever, that's pretty much it for today. Let me know what you guys are excited for play. Maybe you guys want to play just some weird stuff like that Cyber Ogre that we got right here. Cyber Ogre. It looks, I thought this card was really cool until I found out it's a level 5. And then when I found out it's level 5, I was like, oh man, that's a little bit sad. But whatever. I mean, maybe you guys are excited for that. Let me know what you're excited to play. But that's pretty much it for today. And if you guys enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Duel Link shenanigans. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today. Have a great day, and see you guys.